million. For $5 million, this could be yours. That was the first of the cards. You know what that card is?
Gold card.
It's the gold card. The Trump card, gold card.
Who's the first buyer?
Me.
Who's the second?
I don't know, but I'm the first buyer. It'll be out in about less than 2 weeks, probably. Pretty exciting, right?
Speaking of potentially great ideas, can you tell us about the Trump card?
Sure. So,
whose idea was that? And how did that come about?
John Paulson had a call with Donald Trump and was talking to Donald Trump and was kicking around the idea of we should sell, right? Why do we give away visas? We should sell them. And they're talking about it. Donald Trump calls me, gets me on the phone, right? We all talk about it, right? And then we go from there. And then my job is to figure out, like I always figure out, how to do it. What's the path?
Do you have
Let's
a path?
go figure it out. Of course. About 2 weeks from today, it goes out. Okay? Elon's building me the software right now.
Yeah.
Right? And then out it goes. And by the way, yesterday I sold 1,000.
Oh, you did? I got a poly market I created on how many are you guys going to sell this year. So
Cool.
Yeah, curious to see how many.
That's fantastic. Do you want to tell people just the rough?
Yeah, what are the
broad
terms
strokes?
on
Okay.
it? Yeah.
So if you're a U.S. citizen, you pay global tax.
Yeah.
Okay? So you're not going to bring in outsiders going to come in to pay global tax. So if you have a green card, which used to be a green card, now gold card, you're a permanent resident of America. You can be a citizen, but you don't have to be. And none of them are going to choose to be. What they're going to do is they're going to have the right to be in America. They pay $5 million, and they have the right to be in America. They have the right to be in America.
Permanent residency. Yeah.
As long as they're good people.
And they're vetted.
And they're vetted.
Yeah.
And they can't break the law. We can always take it away if they're like evil or mean or bad or something. Not mean, but if they do something horrible, you can take it away. Right? But the idea is, if I was not American and I lived in any other country, I would buy 6. 1 for me, 1 for my wife and my 4 kids, because God forbid something happens. I want to be able to go to America, and I want to have the right to go to the airport, to go to America, and them to say, hello, Mr. Lutnick. Hello, Mr. Lutnick and the Lutnick family. Welcome home.
Right.
That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear I can't come here when there's a horrible war, a horrible whatever.
Right.
I want to be able to go home. Right? And once I'm home, I might as well build a business.
Yeah.
So you have the most productive people in the world going to start spending time here. They're going to have a family office. They're going to hire some people.
And you're not going to tax their external worldwide income.
I only tax the money they make in America, which is what we do now.
Yeah.
But their global income stays out.
And they pay $5 million. And how many people do you think there are that could qualify in the world?
There are 37 million people in the world who are capable of buying the card.
That's
in case you were wondering.
37 million. Wow. That's a lot more than ChatGPT told me.
Who are capable of buying it.
Who are capable of buying it.
Now, I'm not saying they will, but they're capable of buying.
How many do you think you'll sell?
The president thinks we can sell 1 million.
So
That's
$5 trillion.
I think 1 million is reasonable. I mean, look, as an outsider who came in and got his green card and then got his citizenship and now pay global tax every which way known to man. If this were available 15 years ago after the Facebook IPO, that's what I would have done. It would have been much better for me theoretically.
What's that?
Now I'm happy to pay the taxes.
So the idea is, and it's going to go fast. Meaning you apply, right? We take your money, and the way computers work now, they have these cool things, like these computer things. They're amazing. You you put stuff in, and they actually check everything. It's fantastic. You don't even have to plug them in anymore. It's amazing. Like they get the information through the air. I mean, you could do a better vet than anybody in government has ever done it before in 1 second.
Right.
Better than they've ever done it before. So the Social Security system says it's $4 trillion in the hole.
Yeah.
Okay. If we cut the waste, fraud, and abuse out, it becomes 1.5 trillion. And by the way, Frank Bisignano, the greatest payments executive ever to join the U.S. government, is about to get confirmed and take over the Social Security system. Okay? Frank ran Fiserv, $120 billion public payments company. And when Donald Trump asked him in his interview, can you handle Social Security? It's 1.3 trillion a year. He goes, well, say I handle 500 billion a day, so Wednesday. Right? And he goes, my whole life, all I worry about is getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. That's all I care about every single day. $5, $2, $1. He goes, this is going to be the most fun I've ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a Donald Trump administration. This is something that's another planet. Now, of course, I recruit Frank, and I get to have my piece in the game. Yeah. But if we get rid of a couple $100 billion, then it's only $1.4 trillion in the hole. We make $1.4 trillion.
Yeah.
That baby is finished.
So
forever.
Is the sovereign wealth fund a balance sheet for Social Security? Does Social Security become more than what it is today? Does it over time offer bigger, greater benefits? And is it basically a pool that holds equities? Historically, and we talked about this on our show, it's only ever held treasuries, but it's really kind of a fake treasury. It's got 2.7 trillion today, but if we bought the S&P in 1971, when we went off the gold standard with the cash flows that have come in and gone out of Social Security, we'd have a $15 trillion interest in the S&P today.
Yeah, but you'd have that would have had you have Donald Trump be the president the whole time, which is not a thing.
Right.
Okay.
But is that the objective? Is that the sovereign wealth fund is basically for the benefit of retirees in this country, and it becomes like a sovereign wealth fund that
we have a $36 trillion budget deficit. I mean, debt to the United States of America, and we have a budget deficit of $2 trillion. So Donald Trump wants to knock down the $2 trillion, and then he's focused on the $36 trillion, of which the Social Security is part of it.
Yeah.
So how he allocates it, he was elected president of the United States. I was not.
Yeah.
Okay. I like the Social Security idea because it's really easy to explain to people and sell to people, and so they understand it. But the fact is that it's the same money if I put it in Social Security or I put it on the debt of the United States of America. And I'm going to let Donald Trump make that decision. You know why? Because it's all his idea and none of it's not mine. So he will decide that, okay? And he will play it his way. Right. But Scott Bessent and I will make more than $1 trillion for the United States of America during our term, which is pretty darn cool, right? And we'll use that, and if that reduces our debt, right? But that's not the policy of how we're going to balance the budget. We're going to balance the budget. Trump card, tariffs, getting rid of scams. I'll give you a scam example. Every boat you've ever seen, like every single cruise ship, super tanker, container ship, you've never seen an American flag, ever. In fact, you ever think about the flag you've actually seen? All of you would say, I have no idea what that flag is.
BVI.
Like, why is it some flag I never heard of?
Yeah, exactly.
Liberia is number one.
Yeah.
And you go, what? No one even knows where Liberia is. Because the answer is, it's a flag of convenience. They sell the flag for like 10 grand. Like, they literally, here, you can have a flag. And you pay no tax. So what happens is, a cruise ship in the United States of America picks up American passengers, goes in the Caribbean, comes back to America, and treats the port as an expense. And all the profits are made in the Caribbean where it pays no tax. That's what I call a tax scam. Yeah. I mean, it's unfair to America. We're going to fix that in America. We're going to try to fix a whole bunch of these tax scams. Ireland is my favorite. The country of Ireland last year had a $60 billion budget surplus. So we lose $2 trillion and they make 60. You'd say, Ireland? What do they do? Oh, they have all of our IP for our great tech.
All the tech companies.
All our great tech companies and great pharma companies.
And pharma, yeah.
They all put it there because it's low tax. Yeah. And they don't pay us. They pay them. So that's got to end. So when those things end, tariffs, Trump card, getting rid of tax scams to get fair tax. That's my trillion. Elon's got to do his trillion. So whenever I see him getting off the rails, he and I go out and we have a strong conversation together that you've got to do your trillion. So you got to focus not on small potatoes. Right. Big, 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 big. I need you to do your side of the trillion. Now, as it turns out, I'm going to do more than $1 trillion because I'm me. Elon's probably going to do more than $1 trillion because he's him. And then what we're going to do is our objective is to smash down the Internal Revenue Service and change America. And then imagine America. This is just an imagination moment, okay? We have a balanced budget in the United States. We're starting to knock down the deficit of America. We can cut tax. And we have a gold card, a Trump card that you can come to America. which entrepreneur have you ever met who wouldn't buy one and wouldn't start building businesses when they think the tax rate here is going to come down and eventually it's going to come down to 20% and eventually it's going to come down to 15%. You won't be able to find a plot of land in America.
You know what I predict will happen? I predict just like in the medallion industry for taxi cabs, there'll be a financing industry that'll build up around these gold cards or these Trump cards. So that great entrepreneurs, great executives will be able to finance their purchase along with someone getting venture capital interest or equity interest in their business. That they
we're going to take that money. We'll sell them every year.
Yeah.
Right? So they'll knock down our budget deficit. And then eventually, right? If Donald Trump is right and ultimately we can sell 7 million cards, you realize there is no debt in America.
Yeah.
Right.
No debt in America is $1 trillion a year in debt coverage.
Right.
$1 trillion a year in debt coverage, you know what that changes? That changes the Internal Revenue Service. You start to rethink, and I just want to remind you, right? We are the richest country on earth. Our balance sheet is $500 trillion. I give you an example. What's the court system of America worth? Right? You think, what's it worth? Well, how can NVIDIA be worth $3 trillion without a court system that protects it?
Right.
There's no such thing. Right. So just everything about us
the
is
infrastructure
so awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what happens? We actually, we get beaten upon it. We actually believe it.
Yeah, you could ask Doug Burgum about how undervalued a lot of our real estate is in this country and the potential for it.
Think about it. Biden closed 635 million acres. This is electing Joe Biden head of Saudi Arabia, and he closes the oil wells.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Saudi Arabia falls off the face of the earth broke. Like, what are we doing? Mm-hmm. Like, we care about Americans.
Yeah.
Let's make Americans' lives great.
Howard.
We want clean water. We want clean air.
Yeah.
Okay. We do it better than everybody else. But if we don't, here's the one, like the hypocrisy, right? We won't mine lithium in America to make a battery.
Yeah.
But so the Australians mine it with coal, and it's messy because they do it they do it messy. By the way, we breathe the air in 3.4 days, but who's counting, right? Then we take it, we put it on a truck. We put the truck and put it in a super tanker. We drive the super tanker that pollutes the living heck out of the world across 12,000 miles of ocean, puts it in a truck and gives it to Elon to make an electric car. Why don't we mine the lithium in Nevada?
Right.
And by the way, we'd mine it cleaner, right?
And by the way, it's not just lithium. Almost anything that we could possibly conceive of needing over the next couple of decades exists in the continental United States. We just have had no incentive or no structure regulatory-wise that enables the development of it, which is...
We need to care for us. Make America, America first. How about, there's another way to say it.
While maintaining clean
Americans first.
While maintaining environmental standards.
Look, we're never going to do something that's not like 100 times cleaner than everybody else, because we care about clean water and clean air. There's none of us who don't care about clean water and clean air. But like someone gives you a pill and says, this will save you. And then you look at the statistic and it saves 1 in a million people. And you'd say, why am I taking this pill? You'd say, well, it could save your life. You'd say, yeah, but it's like 1 in a million, right? That's not logical, right? That's the point.
Yeah.
There's a regulation that's the right thing.
Yeah.
And there's a regulation that's the 1 in a million pill. Right. Like, why do we give a baby a hepatitis B vaccine? Do you realize we have a brand new baby and we hold it up and we give it a hepatitis B vaccine? You realize the only way you get hepatitis B is from unprotected sex or a needle? Right. Like, why are we giving it to a baby? Like, why? And you know what it is? You know what the answer is? Corruption. That someone in the government got paid to put that in the rules. And because there's no justification. I haven't met a medical doctor who says hepatitis B vaccines on brand new babies make sense. Because by the way, you know what the worst part is? They only last 10 years. You need a booster in 10 years. So the baby's gonna be 10. Right. We've gotta really be fair to ourselves and be fair to Americans. And I think we can be. And I think that's why I'm so excited. That's why our cabinet is so excited. That's why it's so much fun to work for Donald Trump, because I am just speaking from his playbook, right? Because if you had met me before he said, will you help me? And he went out to dinner with me and said, so tell me about government. I'd say, government? You mean I pay them taxes? Like, that's it.
Are you having the time of your life?
Most fun ever, because I have every idea either gets blown up or shot down. Okay? Meaning I come up with lots of ideas and he says, nah, too complex. And you know what? That's fine.
Yeah.
But when I come up with the External Revenue Service and he says, great idea, and then he speaks of it in his inaugural address, right? It's his idea.
Yeah.
Because I can't do anything with it.
If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date with future videos. Thank you for watching.